Look, with generative AI, it's pretty much a given that we're all using it now. So the real question isn't if you use it anymore, it's how. And what's fascinating is that some new research shows we're all kind of falling into one of three very distinct user types. Okay, let's dive in.
So here's the big question we're all grappling with, right? Is this AI assistant you're using actually making you smarter? Or is it slowly making you, well, redundant? It's this huge paradox because these tools promise to make us better, but there's also this hidden risk that we could actually de-skill ourselves.
So a team from some pretty heavy-hitting schools, Harvard, MIT, and others, did this incredible field study with the Boston Consulting Group. They took a bunch of consultants, gave them all the exact same AI tool for the exact same complex task. You'd think, okay, they'll all work pretty much the same way, but nope. What they found was that people used it in profoundly different ways, and it revealed these hidden patterns in how we work with machines. To make sense of all this, the researchers boiled it down to two really simple but powerful questions. And the first one is all about the big picture. Who decides what needs to be done? Who's setting the strategy? Is it you, the human, using your expertise to frame the problem, or are you letting the AI take the wheel on that? And then comes the second crucial question, who decides how it gets done? This is all about the tactics, the nitty-gritty. Are you the one calling the shots on the methods in the step-by-step process, or are you basically just telling the AI, you figure it out? Now, this is where it gets really cool. When you put those two questions together, who decides the what and who decides the how, you get this simple but powerful framework. And out of these possibilities, three very clear, very different types of users just popped right out of the data. All right, let's meet our first user type. The researchers gave them a great name, the Centaur. Think of the Centaur like this. They're completely in control. The human decides the what, and the human decides the how. The AI, it's just a tool, a really powerful one for sure, but it's used very selectively for specific things. The human is always in the driver's seat. Yeah, this quote from one of the consultants in the study just nails it. They said, I think of it as a tool in a toolbox. It's not a collaborator, it's not a partner, it's something you pull out for a very specific job and then put away. You're the one running the show. So what does that actually look like? Well, a centaur might ask the AI, hey, what's the formula for this? But then they'll go plug it into their own spreadsheet and do the math themselves. Or they'll write a full report and then just ask the AI to maybe check it for conciseness. The real thinking, the heavy lifting, that's all human. Okay, now for our second type, which is a totally different way of working. Meet the cyborg. With the cyborg, the human is still in charge of the what, the overall goal. But the how, that's where things get wild. It becomes this deep, back-and-forth collaboration. It's a real dialogue where the lines between who's doing what start to get really blurry. And this quote brings it to life. The person said the AI guided them to a better response. See? It's not just taking orders. The AI is actually shaping the human's thinking in real time. It's a true partnership, and the result is something neither one could have done on their own. And cyborgs are sophisticated users. They don't just take the AI's first answer and run with it. No way. They push back, they argue with it, they feed it new information to see how it reacts. They break big problems down into smaller chunks and really test the AI's logic. It's a constant, active dance of co-creation. And that brings us to our third and final user type. And this one is, well, it's a whole other ballgame. This is the self-automator. The self-automator basically just hands the whole thing over. They delegate the entire task. They let the AI figure out both what is important and how to do it. The researchers call this abdicated co-creation. You're essentially abdicating your role in the process. This quote is just so honest, you gotta love it. The person just says, frankly, I was feeling lazy. I don't want to write 500 words. I want GenAI to produce it. And that's really the core motivation here, right? It's about maximum efficiency and offloading the work you just don't want to do. And you can see this in how they work. It's usually just one giant prompt with everything dumped into it. And whatever the AI spits out first is pretty much what they use, maybe with a few tiny tweaks to the wording. It's not a collaboration, it's a handoff, plain and simple. So, which of these three types do you think was the most common in the study? The answer is probably not what you'd guess. A massive 60% of people were cyborgs, the really engaged ones. Only about a quarter were self-automators, and the cautious centaurs, they were the smallest group by far, at just 14%. But okay, this is more than just about how you prefer to work. This is the really critical part. The choice you make has huge consequences for your own skill development down the line. Just look at this breakdown. It is so clear. If you're a centaur, you're upskilling. You're getting better at your actual job. If you're a cyborg, you're new skilling. You're learning this brand new skill of working deeply with AI. But if you're a self-automator, you risk no skilling. You're not getting better at your job, and you're not really mastering the AI either. So let's just be crystal clear on this choice. Upskilling, the centaur way, is about becoming a better strategist, a better analyst, whatever your core job is. New skilling, the cyborg way, is about becoming something new, an expert in human AI collaboration. They're both really valuable paths, but you have to know which one you're on.
And maybe this is the most important point of all. You're not stuck being one of these things. They aren't personality types, they're modes. They're conscious choices you can make with every single task you do. You can choose to be a centaur when you need to really learn something, and then switch to being a cyborg when you want to push creative boundaries.
So to sum it all up, your relationship with AI is defined by who controls the what and the how. This gives us our three types: centaur, cyborg, and self-automator. Each one leads you down a different path for your skills: upskilling, new skilling, or potentially no skilling. And the best part? The power to choose is entirely yours, every single time.
So that really only leaves one thing to think about. The next time you open up that chat window ready to tackle a problem, ask yourself, who do I want to be right now? A centaur, a cyborg, or a self-automator? What's my goal? Because the choice is yours.